live and 3, 2, go.
Good morning and happy Friday to you. You may be sitting right in your living room, right at your kitchen table. You may be on the West Coast or the East Coast, in Africa and Haiti, anywhere around the world. Good morning to you and welcome to Fridays on the Daily Huddle, where we talk everything business and leadership. Today, I've got a phenomenal guest for you. If you're thinking that when your website looks really slick with all the great graphics that the words don't matter, well, thank you again. Today, I've got a phenomenal guest who's going to talk to us about the art and science of copywriting in a way that's going to leave you never again thinking about your website in the same way. And before I do that, I have a question for you, Giovanni. You're a big Disney fan, so you know the answer to this question. Gio, why was Cinderella so bad at soccer?
Cinderella was bad at soccer because she went to sleep late.
Ah, close. Gio, she kept running away from the ball.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I mean, that's as bad as it gets.
No.
Terrible, terrible.
We keep scraping the bottom of the barrel.
God.
Welcome to the Daily Huddle, where laughter is the best medicine. You know, the kind of medicine that gives you the opportunity to take yourself lightly. That's what it's all about here. And it's also about expanding your thinking, expanding yourself, and grounding yourself. So to ground you in what it is to be a huddler, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Mark, it's been a while. I have not seen you. I have not asked you. Mark, what time is it?
Let me check.
Who are you going to hug today?
Oh, who am I gonna hug today?
No, what time is it first?
Okay, it's right now.
It's right now?
Yeah.
It is right now. And who are you going to hug today?
My wife. I'm gonna hug my wife today.
All right. Well, you better do that, brother. Save one for me, though. I haven't seen you in a long time, and looking forward to them.
I'm gonna hug you too, Sorrel.
I know. I'm if you don't hug me, I'll just walk right in there and take it. Fareed, good morning.
Good morning, Sorrel. How are you?
I am the way I say I am, and I will ask you that question first. Fareed, how are you?
I am the way I say I am. I am good.
You are good.
Today I am hopeful.
I am the way I say I am also, Fareed, and right now in this moment, I am extraordinary. And that's the way I say it. So my last question is going to go to you, Gio. Gio, where are you, brother?
Let me look. I'm still here.
You are still here. And thank God you're here, because today's guest in this very moment is going to have you say, oh my God, thank God I am here. My guest, our guest today is Betty Emrey. And if you want to know how to spell her name correctly, just say E-M-R-E-Y. Betty is an award-winning copywriter with 20 years of experience. As a strategic thinker and writer, she loves getting to know her client's business. Now, that's critical because Betty doesn't just write copy. She writes copy that is tailored to your clients and speaks directly to what your clients are dealing with in such a way that regardless of what your website looks like, when people read the copy, they feel spoken to, they feel heard, they feel known. And in that way, when Betty writes copy for a website, those websites are the kinds of website that stand out and help businesses grow. So Betty, I'm so delighted to have you with me. And today's question is, what do I need to be doing right now? But Betty, before we sink our teeth into that, I'd love for you to tell the world a little bit about you and your love for copywriting. I said a few things about you, but that's just scratches the surface.
You know, it's funny because when I was thinking about going into what I wanted to do, and that led me to go to copywriting, I went back and forth between a couple of different things. I had gone to art school, so I really do love the visuals that go on in any kind of communications. And I always feel like the visuals and the words have to work together. But when I was thinking about what did I want to do, I did not want to do the visual part because I'm not a designer. I don't really think in terms of a 1/16 of an inch or things like that, which is really critical when you're a designer. So I knew I wanted to do something different. And I was thinking back and forth between, do I want to be a writer or do I want to be a therapist? And, you know, back and forth, I finally decided I want to be a writer because writers and therapists have to do a lot of the same things, but writing would be more fun, I think. And I get to learn so much about so many different businesses and what people do. And I really get to dig into why they do what they do. I get to understand their clients and what their clients want and why their clients want it, so that then I can connect what my clients do with what their clients wanted. And, you know, just really understanding people is the thing that I love so much about writing and being a copywriter.
Yeah, and you know, your love, Betty and I are members of a networking group that is a closed referral group. And Betty, your love for people shines every single meeting. Every single Thursday morning we meet. And about 2 Thursdays ago, Betty created a 7-minute presentation that speaks directly to what we're sinking our teeth into this morning. So Betty, what do I need to be doing right now when it comes to connecting with my clients and making sure that my website generates the kind of business I'm looking for it to generate?
You know, that's a good question. And actually, when we had lunch the last time, you asked me, what do you ask? What's your question? And that is often my question as an entrepreneur. And I think we could probably all relate to this because as running our own businesses, there's so many things we could be doing at any given moment. It can kind of be overwhelming. So when I get into that kind of deer in the headlights point with myself, if I can remember to take a deep breath and go, what do I need to be doing right now? I can usually kind of snap myself out of it and do something that's effective in this moment. And so I started thinking about that in terms of expanding, you know, how do I expand that? And I was looking at processes and writing out processes for my business so that even when I'm in one of those moments, I'm sitting here going, what do I need to be doing right now? I have it spelled out for me so I can have a guide that makes sure that I'm doing the thing that I want to be doing, that's strategic and going towards something and intentionally rather than just, you know, reactive. And so as a writer, my job is to write copy for my clients that really clearly explains what they do in a way that's going to connect with what their ideal customers want, and do that in a way that helps them stand out from other businesses in their fields. So guess what? Sharing your process is a great way to do just that. And so I'm not a systems expert or a business coach like you are. And so I don't tell people what their processes should be, but what I can do is help them think about what they're already doing so that they can use that in their marketing in a way that helps your customers understand their value. So entrepreneurs have all kinds of processes in our businesses, from onboarding new people to and the steps they take when we get our work done, to doing the invoicing and to following up. And some of us are really good about documenting those processes, and some of us aren't really even aware that we have processes. But even if we don't consciously think about our processes, we really do have them. And they're a valuable tool that we can use for growing our businesses. And
Betty,
Yeah,
don't lose your train of thought.
okay.
I want to make sure that we all capture something really important that you just said.
Okay.
You said at the beginning that to know what you need to be doing right now isn't a question that you answer frivolously.
Mm-mm.
The way you know what you're to be doing right now is that you've actually planned it.
Yeah.
And when it's now and there's something to be doing right now, you actually are telling us to go back and look to what our process or our plan says.
Mhm.
So what is it that I'm going to be doing right now isn't a question that you kind of think about and then answer off the top of your head. It's coming from a specific place. And one of the places it comes from is your processes, which you're pointing to right now.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, like, you can kind of answer it off the top of your head, but it's more helpful if you do have that foundation that you're calling from. That's a solid strategic foundation. So that's why we're talking about the processes now.
Awesome.
So processes are incredible because they help your customers understand, like when you start transferring those processes into things that you use in your marketing tools, they can really help your clients understand what you do. They answer a whole lot of questions and they show your value before you ever get on the phone with them or meet with them. So when your clients do show up after they've looked at your processes, they're already kind of sold on you in a way. They understand how valuable the value that you can bring to them.
Mhm. And we say the word processes, right?
Mhm.
And right off the bat, I'm thinking, and many other people are thinking, that we actually know what you mean when you say processes. If you just peel the onion just a little more on the
Mhm.
word process, let's say I'm a realtor, or I'm an insurance agent, or I'm a web designer like Mark. When you say processes, what are you referring to exactly?
So I'm talking about the actual steps that you take to get any piece of your business done. So one process might be somebody emails me and then I put them in my email system and then I set them up to get some emails from me, or I call them back within a certain amount of time, or I have a list of questions that I ask every person that calls me so that I make sure I collect the information that I need from them in order to do the job that they want. Those are the kinds of processes. It could be like when the client hires me, I send them a contract for them to sign. And then as soon as I get the deposit for them, then we start doing this, this, and this. So it's just, what is it that has to happen in order for the next step to happen? So you make sure you're really covering it effectively and efficiently. And the thing about a process too is, like, once you have it really nailed down, if you have a team that you work with, you can actually turn it over to someone else to do it. And you know that that's getting done well as well.
Yeah, and if I'm getting you correctly, the process isn't something in my head.
Right. It's really good if you can write it down. It could be a checklist. It could be a piece of paper with a checklist that you fill out. It could be something on some sort of software that you go through. It's just a place where all your steps are written down so that you can make sure you're going through and doing them. And so that's an internal process, which is a really perfect question that you asked right at that time, because there's an internal process, which is for you and your team. And then that you can turn that internal process into an external process, which is something that you can use to market yourself to your customers. So does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So your external process is basically a streamlined, stripped down version of your internal process, where you really just pick out the things that your client might notice or that adds value to your client. So you want to highlight those things. And so you want to say, like, why does your process show value to your business? And the reason for that is because your process, we all work the way we work because we believe it's the best way to do the things that we do. So like as a copywriter, I think the way that I go about getting information from my clients, the way I go about figuring out who else is operating in their space and looking at what those people are saying, I do it the way I do it because I think that's the way it should be done. And I think every copywriter should do it that way. And a lot of them do, and a lot of them don't. So, but I think that's the way things should happen in our industry. And our processes are tangible evidence of how much unique knowledge we have and our expertise, and also the perspective we bring to our work. So it's a great way of showing how you're a little bit different from other people and that you really do have a thoughtful strategy for how you get your work done. So the thing that we all offer our clients is a benefit, and that benefit that we offer to people is our promise. So our promises get people interested in what we do, and our processes give them a reason to believe we can actually deliver those promises. So they work really hand in hand.
I'm so glad you said that. Our promises get people interested. It might even get them to think about buying, right? But our processes is the proof in the pudding.
Yes.
It actually lets them know that we're able to deliver on those promises. Now, when you picture processes that way, does that mean you make your internal processes visible to your client? To what degree do you do that to actually show that proof in the pudding?
So when I was working on my own processes, the promise that I make to my clients is to help them. I write copy that helps them attract more of their ideal clients so that they can spend more time talking to people who want to buy from them and less time talking to people who aren't interested in what they do. And so I have to look at who my clients are. They're usually entrepreneurs who want to grow their businesses, and they get really frustrated. They have a lot on their plates. They get really frustrated when they spend time talking to people who don't end up buying from them, or they want something that they don't even offer. And so in a perfect world, everybody they talk to would be ready to work with them. So whatever I promise them needs to address their frustrations and their desires. So that's why I promise to help them spend more time talking to people who want to buy from them.
And well, that's your promise. That got me interested, right? What is the proof that you can actually deliver that? Tell us a little bit about your process. And I'm thinking as you take us through your process, you'll be revealing to us the importance of excellent copywriting.
Yes, hopefully that is the case. That would be good. So I started by writing down like all the things that I do when I get a new client. And so I knew that when I was writing about it, I knew that I was going to be the stages. There were going to be 4 stages. The first stage is learning about my client. The second stage is sorting through all of the information to find out what it is that really stands out, what's most powerful about who my client is. And then I will develop messages that communicate that value. And then once we have that kind of structured together, then I actually go through and write copy for them. So whether I'm writing a website for them, whether I'm writing sales pages, whether it's a lead magnet or anything like that, or that's the process that I bring to all of those projects. And so I knew that the first one was going to be called Discover, and the second stage was going to be Distilling. So when I sort through and figure out what stands out. So I had those first 2 Ds, and then I just went with the D format. And the third and fourth steps were deliver, develop, and deliver. And so I ended up calling it the 4D framework.
The 4D framework. And if I hear you correctly, Betty, you're not just advocating. You're telling us as entrepreneurs, point blank, unless you have documented processes for most, if not everything you do in your business to deliver to your clients, you're missing something.
Yes. So like with every step of my process, I also describe what the benefit to the client is. And so the whole reason that I do this is because I want to make copy that's really speaks to their ideal clients. So I have to know who those people are. I want it to feel and sound like my client. So it doesn't sound like someone else talking for them. It sounds like them. And then I want it to get them excited about their business, because then they all of a sudden recognize, I actually am pretty cool. I do a really good job at what I do. And that's what I hear a lot of my clients say after they go through working with me, because I'm trying to find all those cool things about them that they just take for granted. And I want them to feel like rock stars so they can go out and make great sales. And so this all kind of goes back to that original promise that I'm making. So when I'm helping people create an outward facing process, it's really helping them communicate and convey the value that they bring to their clients.
That's perfect. That's perfect. We get to this point. It's about 9:20. We're going to open it up. So those of us who are here on Zoom can get a little piece of the expertise that you bring to the table, Betty. So let's open it up right now. Questions for Betty to guide you to the space where your process makes a difference for you and your client. Betty, I'll start with a question.
Okay.
In the discovery phase of your process, do you find that your clients actually get value from that phase itself? And if so, what's the most surprising and extraordinary thing that's happened between you and a client during that discovery phase?
One of my clients, I was working on a sales page for a program a group program she was launching. And she said, I want to join my program. She just got really excited about her own work. So I loved that part of it.
So there is one, the expertise, the experience that they have, and the things that they do that are extraordinary that they don't know because they take it for granted.
Yes.
And during the discovery process, you mentioned one thing. You said, I want them to feel like rock stars.
Mm-hmm.
That is cool. It's not about your copy.
Yeah.
It's about your client. And it's not about their copy. It's about their clients. And ultimately, I'm jumping to a conclusion here. Your copy speaks directly to their clients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Jill, you've got your hand up.
Okay, great. Thank you, Betty. I was wondering, Betty, do you have, when you're writing copy, do you have like an ABC that you can share? Like, so when I'm going to write copy, these are critical things that I have to have in good copy?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So one thing is the benefit to the client. So it's sad, but people really don't read that much unless they're ready to buy, really. So if you're just at an early stage with someone, you're introducing your business to them, you really want to make sure that the benefit is in the headlines, because people will just skim the headlines. And if there's something in that headline that they think, yeah, I want more of that, they'll read the body copy, but they won't read the body copy unless you hook them with the headline. So that's
so each headline needs to be a benefit.
Yeah. So like if you just say how it works, well, okay, that tells you what you're going to read, but it doesn't really tell you why you should read it. So things like that.
Got it. Is there a particular, in this science of copy, if you will, is there a particular way to write a benefit?
So you want to hit on emotions. So you want to figure out, like, what is the emotional benefit? What is the ultimate benefit that I get from it? And so it might be an emotional benefit. It might be I get more time. I might save more money, but you really want to kind of hook into some kind of emotion. And usually a little bit of stress, if you can create a little bit of anxiety, that sometimes works, but they'll say happiness and anxiety work, but sadness doesn't work. So it's kind of interesting that there's some emotions that you can kind of like kill your marketing with, while others kind of make it more interesting.
Well, I can keep going, Sorrel, but I see Mark.
Yeah, and Joe, just to extend a little bit on what you're saying and creating with Betty. Betty, do you have an example? You gave us an example of a bad headline, how it works,
Yeah.
at least not so effective. Do you have an example from your work or some of the clients you've served of a fantastic, great
Well,
headline?
I was talking yesterday to a woman who runs a software service that is for life coaches, and she had auto payments as one of the benefits. And I was like, well, what is this auto payments thing? And she goes, well, they don't ever have to write another invoice. And I'm like, well, that's your headline. What if I never had to write another invoice? Because it just automatically invoices people and you don't ever have to do that. And at the end of the year, it sends you a 1099 form. So,
Mm,
I mean, like that, she kind of buried the whole lead in auto payments.
yeah, got it. So it actually speaks to what the client or prospect wants in
Yeah.
their own language.
Yeah.
Mark,
Yes, sir. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Great job, Betty. Want you to talk about the importance of writing for SEO, search engine optimization. The words that you're writing have some type of keyword in it that picks up in the search engines. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So I'm not an SEO expert, but I do work with SEO strategies. So SEO is when you pick out words that are the things that people are typing in when they're searching for a particular type of solution. So let's say if they were looking for a copywriter, they might be looking for a copywriter in a certain city, or they might be looking for someone who writes about a particular topic. And you want to just make sure that you're putting those phrases into your headlines and headers of pages and sprinkling them throughout the copy, but you want to make them feel natural. So it doesn't feel like you just plugged this weird word or weird phrase into something. So it can take some creativity to make those things feel natural, and also make sure that you're getting them in the right places so that the search engines pick them up.
Thank you.
Betty, not to put you on the spot, but you do have a website, right?
I do.
Now, did you write your own copy or did you get a copywriter?
My own, but I'll have to tell you, like, one of the things that I always tell people is it's really hard to write about yourself. And it is really hard to write about yourself, even when you're a writer. So I have had people look at it and go over it and give me input on it, just to make sure that I'm not forgetting things or writing things thinking it makes sense to me and it doesn't make sense to other people. So I have vetted it with several other people.
Now, I say that to make this point, Betty. Copy is essential to your website. Copy is essential to the emails you're sending out. Copy is essential to everything you're doing to market your business. Sales collateral, marketing collateral, you name it. Copy is at the center of all of it. And the point is that don't write your own copy. Even Betty gets somebody to check her copy. So do not write your own copy. It does two things. It sucks away your time and your energy from the things you ought to be doing and the things you ought to be leaving to an expert like Betty. So Betty, your site right now, if you were to rate your website from the perspective of the copy that's there, and you are rating it on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being it speaks directly to the brains of your clients, 1 being you just Google some stuff and you copied and pasted it on your site.
I got ChatGPT rated.
Where would you rate your site, and give us some examples of why you rate it that way?
So I do think it talks directly to clients, because it does talk about spending more time talking with the people that you want to work with you. And it gives tips on when you should think about hiring a professional instead of writing your own copy. And the thing about websites is they are just never done. They're never perfect. And the thing is, they don't really have to be, because they're fluid and flexible and you can change them. But I think it's always at a perpetual 9.5.
And if you were, it's 9:30 and we're going to close. If you were to pick one phrase or one sentence from your site that you love the best, and that is this example of great copy, what do you say?
Well, when I named my business Use Your Words, just because it made me laugh. And it's like, use the right words. It's the words that connect.
Use the right words, the words that connect, and don't do it alone. Folks, this is your Daily Huddle for today. I welcome you here every single weekday morning for a shot in the arm and a shot in the heart, courtesy of our co-hosts who generously give their time, and also courtesy of the co-founder of the Daily Huddle, my business partner, Giovanni Gonzalez. I love you, Gio loves you more, and I leave you with this. Love. If you love your website and you love your clients, you'll use a copywriter. Laugh out loud. Go look at your website right now and keep laughing.
Thank you
Because
for having
everything
me.
on there is funny from Betty's perspective.
Thank you all for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Stress less, and eat mostly plant-based. Give up yourself, give up your heart, give up your love, and sleep about 7 hours. You wake up refreshed and alert, and move your body. And last but not least, your brain loves to make assumptions and run with them. So check your assumptions before you step. This is your Daily Huddle for the day. Have a phenomenal holiday weekend. We'll see you bright and early on Monday morning.
And Sorrel,
Thank you. Thank you.
what Sorrel was saying was check yourself before you wreck
You wreck
yourself.
yourself. Peace and blessings, all.
What's up, Stan?
One
Stan?
love,
Hey,
guys.
Mark,
One
how
love.
you doing?
All
I'll
right,
hit you
man.
up a little bit